My name is Joanna Page. McNeil. And we would like to welcome you to the Oakview Middle School Spring Concert.
Before we begin, we would like to thank a couple of people for their continued support of the band program. Thank you to the Oakview administration, Mrs. Munn, our principal, and Mr. Armstrong, our assistant principal, for all of their support. And they're here tonight. Could they please stand and be recognized? We also have some very special guests with us tonight. The school board members April Griffin and Eileen Roy are here. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you so much for coming to our concert.
Thank you to the Oakview faculty and staff. If there are any faculty and staff present tonight, could they please stand and be recognized? Thank you to Mr. Kaiser and the GHS band for their help setting up the stage today. We appreciate you making it possible to have our concert here. Please give them a big round of applause.
Thank you to the Oakview Band Booster officers who give a lot of their time and do a lot of work behind the scenes. Pam Story, Booster President, Lori Hillman and Lillian Swanger, Vice Presidents of Fundraising, Jennifer Buck, Secretary, Cindy Eisenshake, Treasurer, Sandy Springer, Volunteer Coordinator, and Julianne Caluette and Jamie Thomas, Valentine's Dance Coordinators. A special thank you to Jennifer Bowe for creating the program for tonight's concert.
Tonight is the final time Mrs. Pam Story, Mrs. Cindy Eisenshake, and Mrs. Julianne Caluette will be with us as they are 8th grade parents and will be moving on to high school next year. All of these ladies have volunteered many hours of their time to serve on the Band Booster Board. We would like to say thank you and we will miss you. Mrs. Story, Mrs. Eisenshake, and Mrs. Caluette, will you please come forward so that we can give you a token of our appreciation for all of your hard work. Wow, that's a lot of thank you.
That's because it takes a lot of time and a lot of people to make the band program a success.
Speaking of success, that reminds me of a few things we would like to ask the audience to do so that we have a successful concert. First, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or silent at this time. I'm sure the composers didn't intend on Meghan Trainor making an appearance in our music tonight.
Please remain seated while the band is performing. Everyone wants to see their student perform, and movement and talking is distracting. If you must leave the auditorium during the concert, please do so through the rear door, and we ask that you do so in between bands. We would also like to ask that the audience please refrain from clapping along with us with the performance, which can mess us up when we are concentrating on playing the correct tempo.
Thank you for coming to our spring concert. We hope you have an enjoyable evening.
Now welcome to the stage our director, Mrs. Pizer, and the beginning band.
our awards concert. So in between each piece, I'm going to be letting you know what the students have been up to since our winter concert. And I'm also going to have students stand so that way they can be recognized for some of the awards that they've received. In Community Band, we had several students participate in the Solo Ensemble Music Performance Assessment. What that means is they prepared a solo on their own, not during class time, after school time, and they performed it for a judge, which can be a very scary thing for a first-year student. I'm happy to say that all the students that went in band earned a superior rating, which is the highest rating you can receive, and all of the students earned a medal. So if those students would please stand when I call their name. In our percussion section, Madeline Paquette. In the trombone section, Samuel Schaefer. In the trumpet section, Michael Spiati Reyes. In the bassoon section, Jocelyn Fields. In the clarinet section, Aubrey Hollingsworth and Grace Bird. And in the flute section, Jillian Provost and Whitney Lindsay. The next piece that we are going to be playing for you is called Japanese Folk Trilogy, and it's based on 3 different famous folk songs from Japanese tradition. One of the hardest things to get students to do is to learn their fundamentals because they really enjoy playing music, but nobody wants to sit and learn scales. It's kind of like getting kids to eat broccoli. They know it's good for them, but it's always a fight to get them to do it. So we make it into a contest. So we have several students on stage that are beginning band Scale Club achievers, and they will be receiving the trophies here on the right hand, your left hand, side of the stage. And what Scale Club is they have to play 5 major scales, 1 octave, from memory in front of the entire class with no mistakes. So the students that did this played all 5 of their major scales, plus their chromatic scale, in front of the class with no mistakes, and then they passed it off. So the students tonight that are Scale Club Beginning Band Scale Club Achievers, and if you'll hold your applause until we get to the end, in our percussion section, Samuel Schlafer, Madeline Paquette, Haley Moore. In our baritone section, Zoe Koch. In our trombone section, Samuel Schaefer and Darby Bruckner. In our trumpet section, Sarah Weitz and Grace Ridgway. In our alto saxophone section, Nathan Marshall and Asha Bruton. In the oboe section, Tessa Lindahl. In the clarinet section, Aubrey Hollingsworth, Tegan Frazier, Kyla Beard. The flute section, Nicolette Staten, Jillian Provost, Izzy Pratt, Whitney Lindsay, Madison Ferguson, and Marley Block. You'll give them a big round of applause. And learning those fundamentals, learning our scales, is basically just like learning the alphabet whenever you're reading against the building blocks to be able to read music really quickly and do more advanced music, which is really neat. The next piece of music, the Anasazi, is very interesting. I like this piece of music for beginners because it allows us to work on dynamic markings, loud and soft and shaping phrases. One of the really cool things is about 2 weeks ago, they all came in and said, guess what we're learning in Mr. Hickson's class? We're learning about the Anasazi. It's like, oh, isn't that cool? Really cool timing. The Anasazi are a tribe of Indians who live in the Four Corners area of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. The name is an anglicized form of a Navajo word meaning the ancient ones. They lived from about 180 to 1300, and there's no apparent reason for their decline or disappearance. And so this music is supposed to take you and let you kind of hear what their civilization would have sounded like. So this is the Anasazi. We had a few students who completed their beginning band scale club requirements really quickly, and then they asked, well, what can I do next? I said, well, you can start working on the concert band scale club requirements. That requires 7 scales, but they have to be multiple octaves, so it makes the students go further in the bottom and the top of their range, which is pretty difficult for a first-year student. We had several students that did that as well. So these students would stand up when I call their name, and if you would hold your applause until the end, these are our concert band scale club achievers from our beginning band. In our trumpet section, Sarah Whites and Grace Ridgway. In our clarinet section, Tegan Frazier. And in our flute section, Jillian Provost, Izzy Pratt, and Whitney Lindsay. You could give them a big round of applause, please. And again, they had to play these 2 octave scales in front of the class, fully memorized with no mistakes. We had one percussion student. For the percussionists to be a scale club achiever, there's 2 parts to what they do back there. Number 1, they play mallets, which are the bells. And number 2, they play the snare drum, which we learned what are called rudiments, which are the equivalents of scales. They had to do, to be a scale club achiever, they had to do 3 scales and 3 rudiments. And then if they did all of them, all the rudiments on snare drum and all the scales for beginning band, they got the Master Percussionist Award for beginning band. We had one student do that in our percussion section. So our beginning band Master Percussionist is Haley Moore. A lot of really good hardworking students up here. All right, our last piece is Recess Rock. It's kind of a fun tune. I would like to ask you to please refrain from clapping, because sometimes if you're clapping and it's not with what we're doing, it can really mess things up. If you want to tap your foot, that's cool, but if you could refrain from clapping, we'd appreciate it. And then with the song, at the end of the song, you can clap, but not with the song. At the end, we're going to do a really quick set change, and so this will be our final piece for beginning band.